Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain. Cuba came into international focus in 1898. The Cubans never truly received their independence. Castro took over. Che Guevara. Cuba increased sexual freedom. Cuba increased sexual freedom. Cuba increased sexual freedom. Cuba increased sexual freedom. Castro was repulsed by sexual freedom. Castro was repulsed by sexual freedom. Castro was repulsed by U.S. domination. Castro was repulsed by public works and school construction. Castro was repulsed by increased corruption. Cuba increased corruption. Castro was repulsed by increased corruption. Castro took over. Castro took over. Castro took over. The Cubans never truly received their independence. Castro was repulsed by a political statement. His answer was a political statement. His answer was my exhibition. His answer was an artistic crusade, 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 an artistic crusade. Castro took over. Sexual freedom. Cuba increased sexual freedom. His answer was sexual freedom. His answer was Fulgencio Batista. Castro was repulsed by Fulgencio Batista. Cuba increased corruption. Cuba increased corruption. Cuba increased corruption. His answer was Che Guevara. His answer was Che Guevara. The Cubans never truly received their independence. Castro was captured. 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 Castro was Fulgencio Batista. Castro was Fulgencio Batista. Castro was Che Guevara. 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 Castro took over. Sexual freedom. Sexual freedom. Sexual freedom. Castro took over. U.S. domination. Cuba increased U.S. domination. Cuba increased U.S. domination. U.S. domination. U.S. domination. The Cubans never truly received their independence. Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain. Remember the Maine. Remember sexual freedom. Remember the sexual freedom. Remember sexual freedom. Remember the sexual freedom. Fulgencio Batista. Fulgencio Batista. Fulgencio Batista. Castro was Fulgencio Batista. Castro took over. Fulgencio Batista. Remember the Maine. Cuba came into international focus in 1898. Batista's reign was ended in 1944. Castro took over. Fulgencio Batista. Batista's reign was ended in 1944. Increased corruption. Increased corruption. Cuba increased corruption. Remember the Maine. Remember the Maine. Remember the Maine. Remember the Maine. Cuba came into international focus. An artistic crusade. An artistic crusade. His answer was sexual freedom. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro was Fulgencio Batista. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro was Fulgencio Batista. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro was Che Guevara. Castro took over. Batista's reign was ended in 1944. my exhibition. His answer was, my exhibition, Che Guevara. My exhibition, a political statement, a political statement. Cuba increased, a political statement. His answer was a political statement. His answer was a political statement. Increased corruption. Castro took over. Increased corruption. Castro was repulsed. Increased corruption. Increased corruption. Increased corruption. Remember the main. Cuba came into international focus. The Cubans never truly received their independence. Che Guevara, Fulgencio Batista, Castro was repulsed by sexual freedom. His answer was sexual freedom. Castro took over sexual freedom. Cuba increased sexual freedom. His answer was sexual freedom. Castro was repulsed by sexual freedom. Castro was repulsed by Fulgencio Batista. Castro was repulsed by Che Guevara. Che Guevara. Che Guevara. The Cubans never truly received Che Guevara. The Cubans never truly received sexual freedom. U.S. domination. U.S. domination. Che Guevara. Travel restrictions. Castro was repulsed by travel restrictions. A political statement. A political statement. Castro took over. A political statement. Cuba came into international focus and increased corruption. Castro took over. Increased corruption. Castro was repulsed. His answer Cuba had U.S. nomination. Cuba was never expressed sexual freedom. Sexual freedom. Castro took over sexual freedom. Cuba increased 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 Fulgencio Batista. Cuba increased Che Guevara. Cuba increased Castro. Castro was repulsed by sexual freedom. Batista's reign was ended in 1944. Cuba increased sexual freedom. Cuba increased corruption. His answer, Che Guevara. His answer was Che Guevara. Castro was captured. Che Guevara. An artistic crusade. My exhibition, a political statement. Travel, progressive campaign, U.S. nomination. Che Guevara. Che Guevara. His answer was Che Guevara. Castro took over sexual freedom. Cuba increased Che Guevara. U.S. nomination. Batista's reign was ended in 1944. Cuba had more movie theaters than New York. Cuba had more movie theaters than New York. Cuba had more sexual freedom. Cuba had more Che Guevara. Cuba had more U.S. nomination. Sexual freedom. Cuba had more increased corruption. Cuba had more increased corruption. Cuba had more increased corruption. Cuba had more public works and school construction.